car business.
Hello, America. This is your guy, Ralph the Car Guy. Welcome to my podcast. I'm here to give you all the information of the automotive business. You got questions about sales, finance, service, I got your answers. Over 20 years experience in the car business, I built winning teams with a true understanding and compassion of people. Today on the show, I have my man, Block from Block Entertainment.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, brother?
So what's your baby?
Not much, bro, not much, man. I'm just trying to get through this Corvette release, man. You see those new Corvettes came out?
Man, thing crazy, boy. I need one in the family. You gotta let me jump the line.
Yeah, baby.
I gotta jump the line, Ralph the car guy.
Well, listen, I got yours already, bro. You just gotta stop by and let's put together, let's put together a couple of features and benefits you want out of that car.
Sir.
But yeah, the pictures don't do it no justice, does it?
Yeah, I mean, dog, hey man, that car is crazy. I mean, like I can't fit in it, but the car is crazy. Think about getting a wife one, you know what I'm saying, the kids one, you know what I'm saying, but I know they probably oversold. So, you know what I'm saying, but I need to, you know what I'm saying, slide up in there, man. That Corvette crazy.
Man, you know I got you, bro.
Yeah.
Man, you said you had a couple of questions about, a couple of different topics, man. Hit me up.
Man, I got a lot of questions, man. I got a lot of questions. So let's just say that I want to buy one of them Corvettes, right? And my biggest score about 550, 600. So I'm just saying, so what's the best way that I can really take advantage of my credit score? Best way I take advantage of my trading if I got one. Let's just take one at a time. So
let's take the Corvette out of that equation real quick, okay?
Yeah.
Because the Corvette, the Corvette's gonna be this new release on the Corvette's gonna be a hard card to go over that.
Okay.
Every dealership in the country is already sold out of their allocation, right? So realistically speaking, to see one of those vehicles on the lot available for like a test drive and sale, you're probably 2 years away, okay, at least.
So let's just say that I brought my $1,000 down on it already, and I came to pick it up. Now, do y'all, like if I order a car like that, and I come in and I put my money down, the $1,000.
Yeah.
Do y'all check my credit score and everything then, or y'all do it once I come pick up the car?
No, once the car is delivered. Because you might put, like right now, you're going to be putting in order, and let's not use you, Block, because I got one, especially on the side for you. But but let's use, if you're going to come in and buy one right now, you're not going to get a 2020, unless you go on eBay. I mean, there's people selling the vehicles on eBay right now for three and four times the value.
Wow.
And they don't even have the car yet.
Wow.
So there's a big, obviously the big push. So to come into the dealership and say, hey, I'm going to order one and I'm going to get it tomorrow, it's not going to happen. You're probably not going to get on a line that you're going to be able to get one to model year 21, okay? Right. But
once again, like I say, but if I did already put the 1,000 down and y'all got my car, it just came in yesterday. What's the next step?
All right, that's when we're going to start doing the deal, right? So that's when we'll run the credit and get your bank approval, right? Because you want to be based on the interest rate from the time you're picking the car up, not when you, in case interest rates fall or whatever might happen in the market, right? So then we're going to do your paperwork. Now, if it comes up that we're unable to assist with the financing, right? There's other choices for you. You can go out, get your own money from the credit union or something to that effect, or we can find out what the value is. But the problem is that now we're in a predicament where you got a car ordered.
Because a lot of people, they don't have the credit score. Or if they do have the credit score, or if they still get the car with a 550, 600 beacon score, then they still getting cheated or getting that long pole put in them. Because your beacon score messed up. So I'm trying to figure out, how can I get that? I mean, how can I get a fair chance for my money with bad credit?
Well, hopefully.
Like, do I get it? I mean, do I try to get the credit fixed before I come there?
Absolutely. Well, first we got to figure out what is causing the credit. What is causing the credit to be in the zone that it's in, right? So if you're a 550, obviously there's millions of sources today that you can get an okay idea of what your credit score is, right? But Credit Karma, the score is really a broad picture, has no risk associated with it, right? So if you look at Credit Karma or any of these other sources out there, it's going to lead you a lot of misinformation, because you might see the thing on this as, oh my God, I'm a 550, and then you go to the dealership and you're a 680, right? Because Credit Karma, the score that's generated on that little app, it's free, right? So obviously you take that for a grain of salt, right? So the score is free. You're not actually paying for it, right? So the score is just a brief picture of your credit. It doesn't have any filter to find out the risk level of the loan you're looking to get, right? So there's one tool out there called MyFICO. Now, MyFICO is a pay-for service, right? You pay for that service, and you can actually see the scores from every different purpose of whatever loan you might be looking for. Because if you pull your credit for a car, a mortgage, and a credit card, the score, all three of those scores are going to be drastically different.
Yeah.
Okay, because the risk level is different. So if you go to MyFICO, you can actually say, hey, what's my auto beacon? You push a little button, it will show you where your auto beacon is. Okay, so you say you did that, you paid MyFICO that $20 a month or whatever it is, and now you know what your score is. It's a 550. Okay, cool. So let's now it's time to dive in and find out why is the score being, what's suffering the score? Do we got late payments? Do we got some collections? Or are we just at the end of the rope with the credit cards and it didn't get your pay cycle? Like, for me, an example, right? I use my American Express card because I want the points, right? Yep. And that's how they get you. The banks are in conjunction with the credit bureaus. The credit bureau is pretty much owned by the banks, right? So every time a bank reports your file, they pay. Yep. Equifax $1.50, wow. Right? So times that by however many people has a credit card. So they're not really on your side in the first place, but so they come out with these points saying, okay, if you put all your purchases in American Express, we give you all these points, right? Yeah. So you got a $10,000 limit or a $5,000 limit, right? Yeah. Let's use $5,000. You got a $5,000 limit, and you put all your expenses on that puppy, and at the end of the month, you got $3,800 on the credit card, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, if your zone on your credit card is not under 25% of the available balance of what the credit card company gives you, so if your balance is $5,000, you can't have a balance over 25%, or you go into the negative bucket. It starts drastically affecting your score.
Right, we ain't got that far. We ain't got that far. But if I just got this all right job, and like I say, big score 550, and I may have a little trade in. What if I have a little trade in? I try to get away from that. But let's just say I got a little trade in.
All right, so let's.
How do I take advantage of my trade in?
Okay, so the trade in. Do you own the trade-in outright? Or you got a loan on the trade? You own the trade-in outright. That's perfect. That's cash down, right? So now you want. Is the question two-part? How do I get the best value for the trade? Like, what steps do I do to make sure that I'm getting the best value? Because I see customers over the last 27 years in the business, right? And everybody comes in with their little printout from KBB, right? And every single one out of one customer's telling the truth, and everybody else is just living in fantasy land, right? So everybody goes on this KBB thing, right? And they click excellent condition. Yeah. Well, the truth of the story is your car was in excellent condition the day you took it off the showroom floor, right? It's not in excellent condition. There ain't no used car in excellent condition, right? I don't even know why they put that tab on there. So then you click that tab, and then you go to the dealership, you get all mad because the value is a little bit different than what you saw online, right? So the value of anything, whether it's a car, my eyeglasses, whatever it is, right? The value is what somebody is willing to write a check for, when you're demanding to sell it. Yeah. Right? That's what the real value is, right? Yeah. I mean, Edmunds can tell you the car is worth $10,000, right? But ain't nobody Edmunds cutting you no check. Yeah. Right? So, I mean, they can tell you the car's worth $50,000. Yeah. Okay? But to try to get a check from them, that's not happening, right? So what I recommend to customers is I do recommend you do your due diligence, because when you go to a dealership, the more knowledge that you have, right, the easier the transaction on both sides of the table. Because it's just as frustrating for the dealership to we're not in the business of pissing our customers off. Like, that's not like, we don't wake up in the morning and say, hey, let me see how I can piss off 50 people today. Yeah. Get some people to scream at me in the middle of the showroom, right? Yeah. That's not what we wake up to do, right? But that's a product of the fact that the consumer got some bad information, because at the end of the day, the consumer's a lead, right? So you go onto these sites and you get down the funnel here, they'll put your trade back, put your VIN here, give me your trade value. You go to the 4 different sites. You go to Edmunds, KBB, and any other site that you think that gives you a value. You go to 3 different sites, you're going to get 3 different values. So what's the car really worth, right? So I recommend, and I even tell customers this, man, go to your local CarMax. They'll buy your car they'll buy your car whether you buy theirs or not. Right. Roll it through the line and find out what they give you for the car.
I'm just saying, because I went and bought a new Camaro when it came out like 2013, 2014. And I think, man, I want to say my interest rate was like 9%. So I figured because my beacon score was low.
Well,
like, what's in between what's the average rate that I should go at? Like, so would it be fair? Well, if I go in and buy a car, will it be fair? Because I know some of
the rates are all contingent. The rates are all contingent on the score. The score is the most important. Listen, man, people used to say cash was king, man. I'm telling you, credit is king, right? So
my homeboy named Curve, he got the hookup. Curve said he got all hookup on the credit. He can fix everything. Then my homeboy the hood. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know the hood hookup. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to see, should I call my partner and say, hey, man, I need you to run this, do this, make sure I'm good. And then I run my shit through there, what?
Well, the banks are getting really hip to that, man. There's another bureau out there called SageStream, right? So you know, Google that, right? So you got Equifax, TransUnion, everybody's plugging away, sending letters to Equifax and TransUnion. But there's another one. Okay. There's another one called SageStream. Okay. So SageStream is another credit bureau, right? That really doesn't take consumer calls, and they have the same listings as Equifax and TransUnion and Experian. So the banks are starting to get hip to that game a little bit, okay? But there's steps that you can do to ensure that the credit score comes up, right? Yeah. A, do you have those credit card situations, right, where you're over 25% of your available credit? Okay. If you are, lower those things down. You can raise your score over 120 points just doing that, right? If you got 3 credit cards, just doing that. Now, say you are a 550, right, and you need a car, right?
I need one.
Everybody needs a car. Okay, cool. So do you go out and buy a $70,000 Camaro, or do you buy a car knowing that credit, the car is for free, right? So if you're a 550, the fastest way to improve your credit score, if you have negatives, right? Because obviously either you're over the balances of your credit cards or you got some negatives, right?
Yeah, I got negatives, problem.
So banks are forgiving on one thing, and that's car credit. The more car credit you have, they tend to shy away from if you paid the credit card people, okay, right? Because they know that you made the car payment, you got history to show that, okay? So that puts into a subject of, okay, so I need a car.
But if I don't have no credit cards, I ain't never had a credit card.
Okay, so let's get at the credit card thing, okay? You got no credit cards, now we need an installment loan, right?
Yeah, I was just saying credit, period.
Credit, period.
Credit, period.
Here we go. So you come in, you got the trade that's worth $2,000, right? Mm-hmm. Well, you don't go looking for the $70,000 car right off rip. When we were born, we crawled before we walked, right?
Absolutely.
So now we're looking at, okay, I'm going to get this car, but the car is free, right? I'm going to get a car to leapfrog into the car that I want, right? So the car is free. I'm going to keep this car for 2 years. I'm going to make the payments on time, and then I'm going to be in a position where I can go get any car I want and lower that interest rate, because if you have a 550, your interest rate is going to be over 10%. It's going to be there.
So I just need to be patient. So I just need to slow roll it.
Slow roll it, yeah.
Tighten it up.
Yeah, slow roll it, because if you're a 550, your interest rate is going to be over 10%. It's going to be, right? It might be 15%.
Yeah.
So you want to pay 15% on $70,000. You want to pay 15% on $12,000. Do a little 24-month bid, right? Yep. Make the payments on time. Now your 550 is a 700.
Okay.
Right, and now you come in and get that car for 5%, that $70,000 car, right?
Gotcha.
So now, say your car runs.
Yeah.
Your car's good. Mm-hmm. Your car runs. You have a loan on it, and your credit score is not in the spot you want it to be. Mm-hmm. Well, the work on the credit, man. The car can come second, right? The credit's more important because the difference between 15% and 5% could be $15,000 in finance charges.
Wow.
Over the term of the loan, right? That's a ton of money. That's a real.
You know how we are these days. We want to run into that new Camaro. We want to run into that new Vet. We want to just get it. Get it. So I just need to take my time.
We just need to take your time, man, and make sure that you're making the purchase that's going to be in the best financial situation.
Now, okay, check the situation now. I'm not trying to leave that one. But what is this called? You bring somebody down there. They give you the car. Okay, you go to the car dealer. They give you the car, right? They let you take the car home for 3-4 days.
Yeah.
And then,
yo, buddy, yo.
And then, right, 3-4 days, and they call you, say, hey, man, we got to get that car back, man. We gotta add more money on it, man. We got to get the car back.
Well, because
I'm saying there ain't no trick they do. Like, I mean, I filled out all the paper. I got the keys. I signed the contract.
It's super unethical, and it's it's almost flushed out the system at most places. If you find an ethical dealership, we don't spot deliver them. What's called spot delivery, okay? And then it ties into yo-yo financing, right? So the reason, the purpose of that is the car's an emotional purchase. They know that you want that Camaro,
I want
right? So, but for you to really want that Camaro, they're looking on the computer and they're putting your thing in the thing and they, oh my God, man, this guy needs $4,000 down to pull this thing off. He don't got the $4,000 down. What do I do?
Yeah.
Do I throw him out? Right? Now, instead of consulting with the customer and say, hey, listen, this is what the real is, okay? You need this amount of money down, okay? The car's not going nowhere. They made more than one, all right? Let's see how we can work towards getting the money down and being honest and transparent with the customer. No, instead what they do is this. They say, hey, you know what? Great news. With the car's all good, man. You can take it home, put it in delivery. You're gonna go to the finance office. You're gonna sign all your paperwork. They know that. They know that. They know that.
So they know I'm gonna go home.
They know.
2-3 days
Like
they call me.
80% of the time, they know that you're gonna go home and you're gonna call you back 3 days later and say, hey, Blocker, listen, buddy. By the way, man, we got great news and we got some good news. And we got some bad news. Well, what do you mean? Yeah, we got some good news and we got some bad news. The good news is you got yourself a new car. Bad news is we need you to come in. We got to ask you a couple of questions. So you get to the dealership, and right there you should put up a red flag, right? And what are your rights in that situation, right? So right there you should put up a red flag. I probably wouldn't go back to that dealership if it was me. You know, I buy cars on my day off too. But so they call you in because now you went home. You showed that car to your family. You showed that car to your girl.
All through the hood.
Right?
2 days.
Yeah, man, you've been banging all over the place. You know.
All weekend.
And now they call you in. They sit you down. And they say, hey, man, you need about $4,000, right? So now you're going to go out and you're going to hunt that $4,000 because the last thing you want to do is everybody ask the question, what happened to your new car? Right? So that's a bad practice, and it's starting to be flushed out the system. Your rights in that situation is that if any terms of the contracts change after you sign it, you're not liable.
Well, I'm saying, I mean, that's what I did. I came in, I put down on 1,000 as before, signed a contract, waited in the damn dealership for like 4 hours. I left. 2-3 days later, they called me. Hey, pull up.
Pull up.
Yo, pull up.
Need some money. You know, and
Time to leave it.
you know the right.
Leave it.
You know, and the rights in that situation, you did the right thing. If you left the car there, well, that's the right thing to do. So you know what, man? You guys weren't working for me, right? You're working against me, right? You weren't working for me. You're working against me, right?
Yeah.
So now and then you know what happens to that customer? What? See, here's what happens to that customer.
Now, damn sure didn't go back.
No, I know you didn't go back to that dealership, but that didn't stop you from buying. That probably didn't stop you from buying a car, right? You might not buy a car from them, but here's what happens. Here's what happens. The consumers, what the dealerships have to understand is that the consumers are still going to buy a car, right? So what's going to happen is they're going to leave, go to another dealership. They're going to tell them what happened, right? And then they're going to buy the car that they should have bought in the first place, meaning they should have slowed down. Right, they should have backed up and punted. The reason why they needed the $4,000 is because they're buying a car outside their means. Right, and the bank knows that. Right, so the bank's saying, hey, we want for that risk, we want some dough. Right. So, but instead of having that conversation with you and being a consultant at the time of purchase, right, they're trying to bang you over the head and get you down the door, which you know, and again, it makes the good.
But
people,
if I would have brought the car back then, what I mean, they could have put a warrant out on, because they could have like.
No, what they do is,
you know what I'm saying, like, if worst kind of worst, I would say, man, I ain't bringing this car back. I ain't getting this key back. Then what would happen then to me?
Well, when you sign in the commission of the car deal, when you sign the car deal, you sign the contract and you sign the bail.
I signed everything.
You signed the bailment agreement.
Yep.
All right. The bailment agreement states that if they can't get the car financed, that car turns into the most expensive rental car you ever had in your life.
Oh.
Right. So the bailment agreement says very specifically that if the dealership cannot get if the dealership cannot sell the contract the way it's written to a lender for cash, right? Then you either have two choices. You either go with the new terms and conditions that they have, or you give them back their vehicle. If you don't give them back the vehicle, then they can start assessing mileage charges and a per day charge like a rent-a-car, and they could actually come and forcefully take the car from you. Yeah, absolutely. So until that vehicle is paid for, I mean, you know that.
I damn sure if we go out of town in it. I damn sure if we go out of town in it.
But here's the thing. Some dealerships will tell the customers, and if this has happened to you, just understand that it definitely ain't true. Some dealerships will bring a customer in that situation and tell them, "Oh, you have to sign this paperwork. Okay. You have to do it." Right? And that's if the terms of that contract change anyway, you are not liable. You can say, "Hey man, that's real nice meeting you. Here's your car. Thank you so much. I'm out of here." right? Because you signed an agreement, legal contract, based on X, Y, and Z. 0 down, 9% interest, whatever it was, $500 a month payment, right? That can't change.
They can't change.
Can't change, no. Now, if they don't have an approval for that, I mean, they shouldn't have put the car on the road, right? They shouldn't have spot delivered the vehicle to
Now,
you.
what you call that? What type of practice is that?
Spot delivery is the act of delivering a vehicle to a customer without a bank approval. Yo-yo financing is when you yo-yo the customer back into the dealership, knowingly that you're going to do it 3 days later because you can't get the money out of them. You want them to go home, get a little bit more emotionally invested in the vehicle, get their circle of influence invested, and then get you to go home and call grandma and tell her to give you $4,000. So that's really that. That's really that practice, and it's kind of flushed out of the system. But if you see it or hear it or feel it,
I felt that shit.
or know somebody that's happened to, trust in the fact that the only thing you're going to have is a little bit of embarrassment because you're going to have to bring the car back. That's a fact. But you do not have to sign for the new agreement. Now, if you decide that, hey, putting the $4,000 down, I really like the car, I can live with this terms, well, then you're going to have to give the money and recontract, okay? Yeah. But if you don't feel that that was the way that you should have been treated, then you're not liable to even stay in the car.
Okay. All right, so I just need to get my credit. To get my credit straight, take care of before I go to the dealership. If I want a fair deal.
Yeah, you got to do.
Just don't rush. Just don't get the car I want. Just get the car I can afford.
Exactly. Exactly. And to piggyback into some service things, right? We talked about it last time on the show. The number one reason why people's cars are banged up in the service department and with blown engines and all that. Number one reason I've seen in 27 years because they don't change the oil. We talked about that episode 3, right?
Yep.
Well, going deeper into that, why don't they change the oil? Like, why would you, if you know the oil is supposed to be, you don't have the money, right?
Yeah.
So do you not have the money because you're in a car, the payment is higher than it should have been? Or should you have taken steps to make sure that you always would have the money? Like we sell a product, right, called maintenance agreement, okay? That will put your oil changes, tire rotations in the payment of the car.
Is that good though? Is that good?
It's good for a couple of different reasons, right? Oil is a commodity. Okay, it's petroleum, it's a commodity, right? It goes up and down with the market, okay? So if you buy it, on March 10th, 2020, you buy a maintenance contract, that maintenance contract is based on the oil prices of today.
Okay.
So if you buy a 5-year plan, you don't know what's gonna happen 4 years from now. If oil goes drastically up, if the price of an oil, you're locked in.
Yeah, but it may go down.
Yeah, I mean,
go down. Then what? Do y'all readjust that payment?
But it may go down. But the average person does not have the $80, $90 budgeted in the month. You wouldn't believe that that they don't have the money budgeted for the oil change.
Yeah.
So if you're that person and you like everything to be in one payment, then you need to do it at the time of sale. Because I've seen hundreds, not one or two over 27 years, hundreds. Number one reason the car is banged up with needing a $10,000 engine is because they pushed the oil change. And we know y'all push the oil changes because y'all push the gas gauge too, right? Oh man, I got a little gas left. It's not empty yet. Okay, and then the thing's stuck on the side of the road, right? That's the number one roadside assistance claim. Yeah. Number one roadside assistance claim in America is not a flat tire. It's I ran out of gas, right? So we still, we push everything to the envelope, but what is the real reason?
Do I get free towing?
Yes, you do get free towing when you purchase the vehicle brand new, yes. So that, make sure you're not biting off more than you can chew, right? And if you like having everything already packaged up in what's called a gas and go program, meaning all you do is put gas in the car and drive it, then you need to set yourself up for that when you buy the car. Everybody out there talks about, you got a lot of disruptors out there that talk about the best way to buy a car, or don't buy a Gap, don't buy this from the dealer, don't buy that from the dealer. But then at the end of the day, that same guy that's giving you that advice, if you need $80 for the oil change, can you call them up and say, hey man, by the way, I took your advice, I didn't buy that maintenance plan and give the dealership their money, but I need $90 to get my oil change. You want to hook me up? I mean, they're not going to do it for you, right? So you got to do it for yourself. It's not what somebody else tells you about what products you should buy in the finance office. Is how can you protect what you're buying to make sure that you're going to get the full advantage out of it and the full value out of it when you tend to trade it in, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that goes for everything. I mean, whether you buy tire and wheel protection, whether you buy maintenance, whether you buy GAP or a service contract, you got to figure out the lifestyle and the way you drive, okay? And what products might fit into that lifestyle to make sure that you can take care of the maintenance. Because the car won't be worth nothing if it don't run, bro.
They won't give me no more. I'm gonna go ahead and get my credit put together, baby. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So after that, I come back and holler at you. So my biggest score was about 680, 700. No, what about 7? It's about 750, good credit score, right?
Well, 750, 760 is excellent. I mean, you can get some of the best rates at 680, 690.
For real?
Yeah, you can get some of the best rates, 680, 690. Now, one other hidden gem is that if you do have a lower credit score, okay, and in the 580s, there's one thing that you could do. Always remember that the one thing that you can do to help lower the score and get the bank to approve it, if you really want the car, you really want that Camaro, okay, and a lot of people got cash and not credit, right?
Yep.
The more you put down, the better your chances of getting an approval. So if you gotta have that car, gotta have it, you know, and you have bad credit because you went through a divorce, right? So you went through a divorce, you got bad credit now, right? So, but it's not because you got bad credit because you don't pay the bills, you got bad credit because that's usually what happens in the commission of a divorce, right? So if that's the case and you want to put down 30%, well, then you're going to get approved all the way. And you're going to get the same rate the guy with the 700 gets.
Okay.
Because the risk of the bank is minuscule. In that transaction, if you buy a $70,000 car, put 30 grand down, the bank's going to wait up all night hoping you don't make the payment. Yeah. They're going to send the car to the auction and ring the bell. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Shit, I need to come see Ralph, man. Hey, man, y'all come see Ralph the car guy. Any questions and answers? You got it.
Hey, listen, hit me on the Instagram.
It,
You know, Block, it was a pleasure having you, man, and our friendship is awesome, bro. And
really.
I love you all the way, brother.
Same here, baby.
You know, any questions, you can always hit it in the Instagram on the DM at Ralph the Car Guy. Every day I'm putting out some questions and tips to test people's knowledge out there about the car industry. We started this program this week. I want to congratulate a couple of the people who actually answered some of the questions correctly. Now, listen, they're going to start off easy, and then there's going to be some nice stuff attached to these answers that people give. So make sure you follow us on the Instagram, and any questions. If you're in the dealership or you were in the dealership yesterday, okay? I got 27 years in the car business, and I want to help whoever I could possibly help across America. So if you were in the dealership yesterday, something feels uneasy, hit me in the DM. Let me guide you through it. I'll help to make sure that you're getting the best deal out there. Check me out on Tuesday, 6 to 6:30, live Canvas Studios, Atlanta, Georgia, Ralph the Car Guy.